on cinema in Talking Films Online. Talking Films Online, or TFO in short, is an informal coming together of academics, teachers, students, researchers, filmmakers, and cinephiles interested in cinema. More importantly, interested in talking and writing about cinema. The online group came together quite spontaneously during the pandemic and lockdown in June 2020. Dr. Geeta Vishwanath and I have been coordinating the activities of TFO since its inception with people like Sanjay Kumar, Sridhar Modugu, K. Paniraj, Ajanta Sarkar, Tarakeshwar VB, Yagnashri, Rasha, Madhurima, and many others who join the weekly discussion. So far, we have organized about 205 online events, which include weekly discussions on a pre-decided film, besides a few month-long film festivals and discussions. For instance, this year in January, we had a Farmers Film Festival, and in March, we had a series of discussions on Kumar Shani's films as a way of paying tribute to him. Now, this September, even as I speak, we are having discussions on Kannada cinema. So this is the Kannada Film Month on TFO. Yeah, just give me a moment. I request you all to please mute yourselves. Filmmakers often have made available their films exclusively for TFO members to watch by generously sharing links to their films. And they have joined in the discussion. We've had directors like Jayan Cherian, Girish Kasarvalli, Adur Gopal Krishnan, Aparna Sen, Anjali Montero, KP Jaishankar, Karan Bali, Amul Palekar, and recently we had Prithvi Konanur as well joining the discussion last week. During June this year, to mark the 4th anniversary of TFO, we had organized the 4th smartphone short film competition for students between 18 and 25 years of age. And we had a grand award ceremony where the winners of the competition were announced. Soon we are making preparations for organizing the first TFO International Seminar on Indian Cinema in the Digital Era, Continuities and Discontinuities, in collaboration with FCT Baroda on September 30th and October 1st this year. Our aim is to get a conversation going around cinema and to get as many people involved in the process as possible. With most of our events being online, anyone and everyone interested in cinema is welcome to our forum. We have a blog called talkingfilmsonline.wordpress.com where we encourage all kinds of writings on cinema. We have a YouTube channel called Talking Films Online where you can watch the recordings of all our discussions. We're also on Facebook. TFO is a private group on Facebook, and we are also on WhatsApp, which is where we share the weekly discussion details. Today, as a part of the Kannada Movie Month on TFO this whole September, we are discussing the film Daredevil Mustafa. The screenplay writer of the film, Anantha Shandreya, has joined the discussion. Anant has been a prolific screenplay and dialogue writer for cinema and the small screen, having written the screenplay and dialogues for such films as the one we will be discussing today, Daredevil Mustafa, September 13, Hebbuli Cut, Kaudi, Desi, etc. And for such serials as Dasa Purandara, Muttina Torana, Girija Kalyana, etc. The films that he has written for have won several awards, including Filmfare Award, State Film Award, and so on. One of his short stories called Vyajya is included in the Karnataka Sahitya Academy collection of short stories of 2020. A very warm welcome, Anantha Shandreya, to Talking Films Online. The discussion on the film today will be initiated by Dr. Vijaykumar Boratti. Vijay is an associate professor and head of the Department of English in Yuvaraja College on deputation, University of Mysore. He has a PhD degree in comparative literature from Central University of Hyderabad. He did his MPhil on translation and film in Pondicherry Central University. He was a Charles Wallace India Trust Fellowship awardee. His specializations are colonial history of literature and culture, folklore studies, and translation studies. He has many national and international publications to his credit. His articles are published in the Journal of South Asian Studies, Folklore, International Journal of Asian Christianity, South Asia Research, Society and Culture in South Asia, EPW, and Studies in History. His short stories in Kannada are published in Kannada journals and magazines. Presently, he is doing research on colonial history of detective fiction in Kannada. A very warm welcome to you, Vijay, to TFO and to this discussion. And it's now over to you.
Thank you, Nikhila, and good evening to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank TFO also for last 4 years, consistently, continuously, TFO team headed by Nikhila and Geeta has been arranging weekly talks on various movies across the globe. So congratulations on that. When Nikhila asked me to make a presentation or share my views, my opinion, or my criticism on the film Daredevil Mustafa, I immediately grabbed the opportunity because this is one of the movies that I have watched recently in Kannada, and I liked it so much that I readily agreed to make presentation on this movie. Actually, I wanted to talk to you people informally, informal discussion that happens here. But since I didn't have time to prepare for that even informal talk, I thought I should read my presentation, share my thoughts with all of you. So I hope all of you will have patience and patience to listen to what I'm going to read out. I hope I will not be monotonous and I will not be boring to all of you. Is that okay with all of you? That's the mode of my presentation today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I also would like to welcome and congratulate Anantha Shandreya for a wonderful screenplay that he has written. I'm going to talk about it briefly later. I'm sure he will also pitch in and he will also talk about his experiences as a screenplay writer for this movie. So let me start reading, and I'm going to take 20 to 25 minutes maximum, and I hope you will have patience to listen to me. Let me start now. One of the promo videos of the film is about an imagined conversation of the film director with the original story writer Purnachandra Tejasvi, who is also known by the name Poochante. In the video, Tejasvi's face is not shown. We see the director handing over him his plan of making Tejasvi's short story into a film. Looking at the choice of the story by the director, Tejasvi, whose only voice is heard, expresses his surprise over the choice. He appreciates the director's choice. Wishing the director for his directorial venture, Tejasvi permits him to take liberty in changing the story to adapt it to film version. He advises the director to make the film a commercial venture. He even promises the director that he will not accuse him of caricaturing his original story once the film is made. This short story, I believe, is the case of Tejasvi giving up of his authorial control over his writings. Perhaps the promo is made not only to criticize, ridicule the legality of the intellectual property right or authorial intention, but also to reveal the man Tejasvi was. That is, Tejasvi was liberal-minded, progressive, and open-hearted writer who opposed conservative views of society, culture, literature, and religion. In order not to entangle the filmmaker in the whirlwind of questions asked by film critics such as Paniraj K, who asked, who gave an interview to Deccan Herald last year while talking about this film, he asked a question talking about film adaptations of Tejasvi's short stories. In that connection, he asked this question. Are the filmmakers able to catch the philosophy of the text and reinterpret it? Tejasvi is imagined in this short promo video cleverly to have permitted liberty to reinterpret and thus preempted such critics. The promo looks like a premeditated plan to justify changes and additions made in the film, which inadvertently and inevitably provokes the audiences to allude to several circumstantial and situational scenario of Karnataka's religious and political life. In this way, the film makes headway in facilitating the audiences to connect the film to ideological, cultural, religious, social structures, systems, and powers. I'll talk about this point later. Other promo videos are also made to stand up to the imagined advice of Purnachandra Tejasvi to convert the short story into a commercial film. For example, in another promo video, a popular and famous Kannada actor is made to appear. Apparently, this popular actor happens to be Dali Dhananjaya, and he is one of the producers of the film. I should also talk about the speciality of this movie. As most of you know, I assume that most of you have watched the movie because I'm not going to tell the story of the film. If most of you have observed, this film is crowd-funded in a sense. In other words, the fans of Purnachandra Tejasvi have contributed financially into the making of this movie, and Dali Dhananjay is also one of the promoters and also financial assistant of this movie. So in this another promo video, he appears in order to catch the attention of the audiences before the release of this movie. The actor appears and arouses curiosity as to who exactly will be Daredevil Mustafa in the film and urges the audiences to come to theater and watch it to know. The film is based on the short story of Tejasvi by the same title. Tejasvi belongs to a new generation of writers who rebelled against modernist literature in Kannada. That is the Navya literary movement, which was happening in 1960s and 70s. He was one of the forerunners in advocating social-oriented literature rather than individual-oriented modernist approach. The short story Daredevil Mustafa belongs to this class of literature which contains critical narratives about conservative society, regressive religious mindset and traditional culture with humor and satire marking it. There are at least 6 films made on the basis of Tejasvi's writings. All the films are made in different time zones, and it is problematic to say that the films correspond to Tejasvi's concerns and intentions. Film critics like Paniraj have found a mismatch between literary preoccupation of Tejasvi's fictional world of 1973, in which this short story was published for the first time, and subsequent film adaptations. I agree with him, but would like to take it further by saying that each film adaptation can be an object of research and study for differences it makes. I also take this opportunity to raise an issue. If Tejasvi's short stories can be categorized as different from modernist literature in 1970s, how do we understand the film adaptation or films? Can film adaptations or films can be categorized as belonging to particular school of thought or any ideological progressive movement? The original short story is about young college boys and girls who happen to study in a government college along with a Muslim boy for the first time in their life. The story runs about 11 to 12 pages and it was published first in 1973 along with his other short stories. This anthology of Tejasvi's short stories was so popular that it has seen 17 reprints so far. The crux of the short story revolves around mainly four incidents. First one is rumors, stereotypes stirred by the arrival of Mustafa in a government college of Abbotsuru, which is full of Hindu-dominated boys and girls. I wonder if the writer Purnachandra Tejasvi is anticipating Islamophobia through the picturization or through the illustration of rumors and stereotypes around a Muslim boy. That's a question that struck my mind. The second issue that's the crux of this short story is the Ganapati procession incident, which brings honor to Mustafa for controlling a crazy bull provoked by a drunken participant in the procession. Third point, the football incident between Mustafa and Shankara, in which Mustafa's hat becomes a controversial object and is crushed in the melee and is humiliated by Ramanuja Iyengar, a Brahmin boy student in the government college, and his friends. The fourth point, a clever way of Mustafa in avenging his humiliation in the magic egg episode during the college union day and ultimate friendly gesture of Mustafa towards Ramanuja. This short story in the film is extended, enlarged, additions are made freely after obtaining an imagined permission from the writer. However, the changes in the film are not disconnected with the original story. The story is made large and lengthy, but the filmmakers have taken utmost care that the changes are coherently connected to each other, and continuity of the story and plot sequences in the film is established throughout. The communal conflict between Hindu boys and Mustafa gets resolved in a cordial note in the film. The painful worry of Tejasvi, expressed in an interview and shown at the beginning of the film at increasing communal tendencies of the youths, acts as a prologue to the film. In the film, an elaborate extension of characterization, characters' behavior, conduct, thoughts, and actions is carried. Starting from the family of Ramanuja Iyengar to the culmination of cricket scene, the film sticks to the agenda of exposing caste configuration of turn of events and communal religious turn it assumes. The film convincingly, emotionally, and sentimentally reveals the fact that the sequence of events in the film is a reflection of larger society and its social and religious upheavals. Yet, the emotions and sentiments are not melodramatic or far-fetched in the film. Restrained method of narrating the plot sequences characterize the entire film. The screenplay, theatrical experiences, and dialogues add to this coherence. Nowhere are the dialogues stretched beyond a point of necessity, and they are not monotonous. They do not lose track of the main plot and supplement it convincingly, even though sometimes we witness dramatic elements in the film intermittently. Remember, the film was expected to be commercial, and many a times commercial films have to include dramatic elements now and then. As the title of the film suggests, the film does not lose its focus on the main Muslim character and in what ways he plays an important role in unprecedented sequence of events in the government PU college. His character, behavior, reactions, and conduct in the college seem to be a response to provocations or circumstances. The pressure of being a single minority student is always put on him by rumors, prejudices, commonsensical anxieties about Muslims in society, teachers, and students. Though Mustafa remains restrained in the beginning, the pressure of rumors, ridicule, and conspiracy of the classmates provoke him to call himself daredevil challengingly, and he would not yield into provocations. The main crisis of the film around a few Hindu students and Mustafa is a microscopic reflection of larger communal crisis in India and Karnataka since long time. The hat incident, stereotypes about Muslims, words of caution of the principal are metaphors in the movie that feed into the larger communal scenario. What is important to notice in the film is the origin of communalism. Though already existing stereotypes about Muslims in society are commonsensical knowledge of the students, they remain dormant until the arrival of Mustafa and triggering of insecurity, conspiracy, and jealousy of Ramanuja Iyengar, who provokes his classmates to support him in humiliating Mustafa.
ನಾನು ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ನಾಗ ಇದ್ದೆ.
Yeah, Vijay, sorry, you're muted. Can you please unmute yourself? I muted you by mistake.
Boru, unmute.
Vijay, can you
okay.
unmute yourself?
Yeah. I don't know how much is lost.
No, just less than a minute.
Okay. I'm tempted to read the last sentence again, but
Please do.
yeah. Though already existing stereotypes about Muslims in society are commonsensical knowledge of the students, they remain dormant until the arrival of Mustafa and triggering of insecurity, conspiracy, and jealousy of Ramanuja Iyengar, who provokes his classmates to support him in humiliating Mustafa. As Mustafa seems to be a confident, smart, clever, and able student on and off the classroom, Ramanuja Iyengar finds it difficult to digest it and devises several plans to humiliate him. The name Ramanuja Iyengar in both original story and in the film is suggestive. Contrary to what the 12th century Ramanujan, the social reformer of Sri Vaishnava cult, achieved as a saint, Ramanuja of the film is a boy who practices untouchability and purity pollution theory. He is the cause of the chain of events that happens in the film. So it is a direct confrontation between vegetarian Ramanuja and non-vegetarian Mustafa. While Mustafa's confidence and pride are non-issues for other students, Ramanuja finds it necessary to outgrow Mustafa or break his self-confidence. The hat incident, football incident, or cricket episode in the film exemplify Ramanujan's petty ways of dealing with the confidence of Mustafa and settling scores with him. Both the original story and the film expose the pettiness of Ramanuja Iyengar and reveal large-heartedness of Mustafa. In yet another incident, Mustafa pacifies Srinivasa for allegedly injuring him by hugging him with an affectionate, friendly gesture. This scene gave me a sense of deja vu. That is, peace-loving politicians are people hugging those politicians or opponents who are hate mongers or communal minded. The poster of the film metaphorically stands for this aspect of Mustafa. In the poster, Mustafa is shown as a gigantic boy with humility and is shown looking at his classmates who look like vainglorious dwarfs. The timing of the film's release is very interesting. It was released coinciding the formation of new Congress government in Karnataka. Before the election, Karnataka was witness to the rise of communal forces in Karnataka. Several incidents of communal in nature, such as hijab, halal, had captivated the communal scenario in the state. In reaction to such political religious situation, the Congress party, under the slogan of Sarva Janangada Shantiya Tota, that is, a peaceful garden of all races, had tried to woo the voters of all communities and religion. The film too echoes such slogan at least 3-4 times in the movie. However, I do not dare say that it was a deliberate inclusion to support the newly formed Congress government. Apparently, the line appears in the Nada Gite of Karnataka, written by Kuvempu, the father of Tejasvi. The line is sung at least twice in the movie. At the first time, it expresses sadness over division among the student fraternity, especially during the fight scene between Mustafa and the Ayangari group in the college ground. And at the second instance, that is during cricket scene, at the fag end of the film, the Nadagite, a line from the Nadagite expresses jubilation at the reformed Ramanuja, who joins hands with Mustafa to defeat the opposite cricket team. To conclude, I found the film refreshing and at the same time entertaining at a time when propagandist and Islamophobic movies are being made by right-wing filmmakers with distorted history, facts, and events. What is interesting to notice is that some of the audiences who watched the film and appreciated it included hardcore right-wing politicians. If you watch a short video of the film on the eve of its 25th day in theater, we notice this aspect. Perhaps the pressure of the occasion might have outweighed the politician's response. The politician could not have said anything else but to praise it. I believe that films like Daredevil Mustafa can be a checkpoint to prevent or stop repeated exposure to specific distorted knowledge, structures, information, and experiences. Such films in more number can slowly and steadily create a space for communal harmony. I congratulate the filmmakers for this wonderful feel-good movie. I really enjoyed it when I watched it in a multiplex theater. And very interestingly, after the show, some of the film actors came onto the stage and sought our opinions, our views. And I was the first one to respond to them and appreciate the movie. And it was really at this the last few scenes of the movie were so thrilling and exalted that I really enjoyed. And that day itself, I think I recommended this movie to most of my friends to watch it in theater. And if I am right, film made a good mark in box office because of the promotional videos and subsequent videos after the movie. So the filmmakers, I think, did not lose financially. That's my hunch. With that, I end my presentation here. I would like to interact more about the movie with the rest of the TF group here. I'll stop here, and thanks to TFO, Nikhila, Geeta, and its team. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, Vijay. This is like a fully written, ready paper. We will be the first to grab it from you for publishing on our Talking Films Online blog if you are ready to give it to us. So this is really wonderful. It has opened out so many interesting aspects of the film, particularly in relation to the literary text. So for many who have watched the film, who may not be familiar with Tejasvi's text, I think there is a lot, to mull over. Now, the discussion on the film is open. Anant, if you want to respond at this point, you're most welcome to anything that Vijay has said. Or if you want us to open this discussion and you can hear more responses and come in later, that is also fine. Would you like to come in now, Anand?
Okay, Kandita.
Sir, before you start, may I ask a question to you, which has been bothering my mind. In one of the promotional videos, I came to know that the director of the film had to undergo surgery and for donate a kidney for making movie. Is that? Please tell us more about that.
ಖಂಡಿತ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ವಾ?
Yeah. So either Vijay or I will translate it for the audience. Yeah, please go ahead.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ವಿಜಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್. ಅವರು ಸಮಗ್ರವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ ಬರೀ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣದ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ, ಆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚಿನ ಪ್ರೋಮೋ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನ ಸಹ ಅವರು ನೋಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಸಹ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ನನಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರೋಮೋ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನೇ ಮರ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇವಾಗ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ವರ್ಷ ಆಯ್ತು ಆ ಪ್ರೋಮೋ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ನ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನ. ಅದ್ರ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ನಾನೇ ಮರ್ತೋಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿಜಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಬಹುಶಃ ಮತ್ತೇನು ಹೆಚ್ಚುವರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಮಗ್ರವಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಸಿನಿಮಾನ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆ ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಸಿನಿಮಾವನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕಂಪ್ಯಾರಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ಸೊಗಸಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಿಜಯಕುಮಾರ್ ಬೋರಟಿ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮೊದಲ ಈ ಪೇಪರ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಡೇರೆಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಪ್ಲೇ ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೆಲವು ವಿಮರ್ಶೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಸಹ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಆ ಪುಸ್ತಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ವಿಜಯಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇವಾಗ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ನೀವು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಯನ್ನ, ಸಂವಾದವನ್ನ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಬಹುದು.
Yeah, sure. We'll open it out then.
ಕೇಳೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ವಿಜಯಕುಮಾರ್ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾವ ಕಿಡ್ನಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದು ತಮಾಷೆ ಆಗೋದು, ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಫನ್.
But it looked so serious that I almost believed in it.
ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ, ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಟ್ ಇತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ಆ ವಿಟ್ಟನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಿದೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲೂ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸಿದೀವಿ, ಆ ಪ್ರೋಮೋಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಆ ವಿಟ್ಟನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಾವು ಆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ವಿಟ್ಟನ್ನ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅದೊಂದು ತಮಾಷೆಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದೊಂದು.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅನುಮಾನ ಕೂಡ ಇತ್ತು, ಏನೋ ತಮಾಷೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಶ್ಯೂರ್.
ಸರ್, ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು 4 ವರ್ಷ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಯಗಳನ್ನ ಮೀಸಲಾಗಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ. ಸುಮಾರು 4 ವರ್ಷ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಶುರುವಾಗಿದ್ದು 2017-18 ಸುಮಾರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಅದ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವು ನಾವು. 2019ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ಹೋದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಒಂದು ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ನಿಂತೋಯ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಆನಂತರ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು 2 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು, 2 ವರ್ಷ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಅವಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು 4-5 ವರ್ಷ ನಾವು ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡದೆ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಯಗಳನ್ನ ಮೀಸಲಾಗಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟು ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಸಂಗಗಳೇನು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ.
But it's worth attempt, and really I think financially too it brought to you some I think reprieve.
ನೋಡಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ವಿಷಯ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾನ ಕ್ರೌಡ್ ಫಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆತರದಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಡೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ಈ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಕತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಇದು ಡೇರ್ ಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಪ್ರೊಟೋಗನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣವೇ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಆದ್ರು. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೀರೋ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದುವರೆಗಿನ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಪ್ರೊಟೋಗನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇರೋ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳು ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನನಗೆ ನೆನಪಾಗೋದು ಗೌರಿಶಂಕರ್ ಅವರ ಕೆಂಡದ ಮಳೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇದುವರೆಗಿನ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಇತಿಹಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಪಾತ್ರ ಪ್ರೊಟೋಗನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಗಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವೊಂದು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಅನುಮಾನಗಳು, ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಅಪನಂಬಿಕೆಗಳು ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದಾವೆ. ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪಾತ್ರವಾಗಿಯೂ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಳಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಳಸೋದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಶೇಡ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಖಳನಾಯಕರ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ವಿಲನ್ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ ಹೊರತು ಒಬ್ಬ ಹೀರೋ ಆಗಿ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರೊಟೋಗನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸವೇ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ನಡ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿಷಯ. ಆ ಲೆಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೊಂದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ನನಗೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಕತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಪ್ರೊಟೋಗನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದೇನೆ ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ.
Okay, thank you. Let me quickly translate because a lot of people who have joined today may not follow Kannada, so we should not leave them behind. Anantha Shandreya congratulated Vijay for his wonderful analysis that we have all heard. He particularly congratulated him for taking note of the promotional videos and the making videos. He pointed out how the film took nearly more than 4 years, of their incessant, time, effort, energy, and so on. While the script of the film was ready in 2017-18, and they had finished the first schedule of shooting in 2019, because of COVID, they had to stop and could only go back to it after a couple of years. So nearly 4-5 years of their time and energy the film has taken. It did not take anything more than that, certainly not the director's kidney. Another very important point that Ananth is making here is that their initial move was not really to go for crowdfunding, but they did actually approach many producers, many of whom came forward because it was based on a story by Purna Chandra Tejasvi. But the moment they heard that it is Daredevil Mustafa, all of them virtually backed out. And Ananth is also making a very important point in that in Kannada cinema there has hardly been the representation of Muslim as a protagonist on the screen. We have had films with Muslims probably as villains, but very rarely as a protagonist or a strong character. So he's saying that one of the reasons that they thought they should go ahead with the film is also because of this reason, to bring a Muslim character onto the screen. Anand sir, I hope I have translated the key points. Yes. So let us open out the discussion. If anyone wants to come in, please unmute yourselves. Yes, Geeta, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vijay, for that wonderful introduction to the film. And thank you, Ananth, for your response as well. Yes, I loved the film. I liked the idea of dealing with such a sensitive topic through the mode of humor. I thought humor was quite central to the film, and that was something that I really enjoyed. And last week we discussed Prithvi Konanur's Hadinelyentu, and I saw similarities between the two films in the sense that, both are set in the context of campus life, with high school students and college students. So in that sense, both these films are very much films for our times, and they have pedagogic value as well. Films that must be shown in schools and colleges. And but in the case of this film, Daredevil Mustafa, like Vijay has already told us in the introduction, that several of the scenes, are contextualized within the politics of Karnataka, especially the cap scene, when Mustafa's cap is thrown on the ground and stamped. Somewhere it brings to mind the whole hijab issue as well, the question of headgear. And but what I found somewhat limiting about this film is the character of Mustafa is almost angelic, in the sense that he seems to be emblematic of the good Muslim, some kind of a Munna figure. So I haven't read the story, so I don't know whether it comes from Tejasvi's story or it is something that has come through in the adaptation, in order to avoid controversies, and probably that is also the reason why it was, as Vijay said, acceptable to politicians as well. So this is what I thought, but I thoroughly enjoyed the film, and definitely a film for our times. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geeta. Yeah, Vijay.
A quick response to Geeta. Geeta, when you're saying that Muslim character in the film is emblematic of everything that is good, perhaps if you look at the a cricket episode in the movie, don't you think that there are also a couple of Muslim characters who seem to be communal in their mind, and they also try to advise Mustafa to be with them when they are playing a cricket match against the college boys? And
Yes,
now,
that is
yeah.
definitely there, but I was talking about the characterization of Mustafa.
Okay.
ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರೈಸೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ.
That's what I wanted to know.
ಟೀನೇಜ್ ಹುಡುಗರು, ಟೀನೇಜ್ ಹುಡುಗರು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಕೆಟ್ಟದ್ದು ಎರಡೂ ಅದನ್ನ ತುಂಬಾ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ದೀರ್ಘವಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗುವಂತ ಹುಡುಗರಲ್ಲ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 16-17 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಹುಡುಗರು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಅದೇ ತರ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಏನೇನೋ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರು ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಕ್ಷಣಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತದೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಹಂಗ್ ನೋಡಿ ರಾಮಾಜ ಅವನು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹೊಡೆಯೋ ಪ್ರಸಂಗ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅವನೊಳಗಿರೋ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇದನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಅವನು ರಾಮಾನುಜಾಚಾರಿ ಅವನ ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹೊಡೆಯುವಂತ ಪ್ರಸಂಗನ ಅದನ್ನ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ಮಾಡಿದ ತಪ್ಪು ಅಂತಾನು ಹೇಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ. ಅವ್ನಿಗೆ ಆ ತರದ್ದು ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ನು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಎಂಜಲಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಕ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಟೀನೇಜ್ ಹುಡುಗ ಹಾಗೆ ಇದಾನ ಅವನು.
ರೈಟ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಜಾಬ್ ಪ್ರಕರಣ ಬರೋಕ್ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಮುಗ್ದೋಗಿತ್ತು.
Yeah, but for the audience, those resonances are there.
Yes, ಹೌದು.
Yeah, so I think the vein of Anant's response to Geeta, I think you've all caught it, that he was talking about how teenage boys are, like that, in the sense there is no great thought that goes into their action. It is more spontaneous. And in the episode of the magic episode, actually, you can also see his naughty side. So he's not all angelic. So this was Anant's response. Sir Murali Krishna, sir, please go ahead.
Good evening to all. First of all, I had to place on record the insightful presentation by Dr. Vijaykumar. In fact, his analysis was very good. Thanks for that. Then coming to Daredevil Mustafa, earlier also in another forum in Clubhouse, we had a discussion with Anant. So I remember that discussion. Anyway.
ನೆನಪಿದೆ ಸರ್
So
ರಾಜು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರಿ.
yeah. Coming to this discussion, today's discussion. So I want to first of all congratulate the entire team of Daredevil Mustafa, because the film was released at a time when already the communal cordon was there in Karnataka. And we had the instance of Urigowda and Nanjegowda, in especially Mandya, where it was cooked up that these two Okkaligas were responsible for the death of Tipu Sultan, which is not a part of history at all. It was a figment of imagination on the part of the dispensation or the party is well known. So such being the case, it takes a moral courage and also what you call as a very, very farsightful approach, and also a determined approach, and with lot of guts to make this film. And also, of course, Anantha has told that the making was done earlier, but anyway, the release of the film was also very much required, as we are living in dystopian times. So then only one issue of the film is I think that cricket session was a bit stretched, according to me, a bit stretched. So that's all I want to tell. Other aspects of the film are good, and I enjoyed the film. Of course, I have not written on it, but I have shared my views in other forums also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Murali Krishna sir. Anyone else who wants to come in? Just to kind of immediately respond and share my thoughts on the film, there were two points maybe which Vijay's presentation didn't talk much about. So I was just thinking of raising these two issues. One is the way in which a kind of backstory is given to Ayangari. So in a way, it redeems his character. So it is like you don't want to kind of make it seem like he's inherently prejudiced. This is how an upper caste boy is socialized at home. So we are told what is the reason for this kind of socialization. So there is a family story that is brought in later. Also about Rafiq. So there was a little bit of discomfort for me, because it also comes in the times of incidents where we are, where this whole aspect of Muslim boys taking away Hindu girls, particularly in coastal Karnataka and Kerala and other places. So I was wondering why that incident was included. Maybe I thought it was as a way of redeeming Ayangari's character, giving him a backstory. The second one, which I found very, very positive in the film, is the unabashed, unapologetic expression of Ramamani. So there is no shame. Last time when we discussed Hadinel and 2 also, we were talking about this. Young people who are not embarrassed by, the expression of their feelings. It's not pursued much. We don't know in the end how she feels. Of course, if she is irritated, it's only because her note has, created consequences much beyond what anyone intended. But otherwise, this frank love or expression of friendship, love, whatever one wants to call it, between two young people, a Hindu girl hugging a Muslim boy. We don't have to add too much of community color to it, but two young people or her, it's not reciprocated. That is a different story. Otherwise, I think your film would have got a lot of brickbats if he had reciprocated her love. Even shown any intent, so very conveniently he runs away. So, but I thought this was a very, very important and interesting moment to bring on to the screen. So these were my two observations, but overall really enjoyed the film. It reminded me of Lagan, the last bit, quite a lot, the edge of the seat kind of moments. So it was, it's like a Kannada Lagan to me. Yeah, so thank you.
May I? There is one new entrant here in TFO discussion. That is Gil Ben Herat. He wants to say something, I think. See, he is my friend. That's why I'm introducing him to you people. He is a professor in Florida University, Florida. He is working on Basavaraja Ragalegalu of 12th century, and he has come to Mysore. He wants to say something about the movie, I think.
Yeah, please go ahead, Gil. And then Kishore has also raised his hand. There is time for everyone to discuss. Everyone will get time to speak on the forum. Gil, please go ahead, and a warm welcome to you to TFO.
Thank you very much. And I want to say how enjoyable this event has been. I watched the movie. I think it's fantastic. It's very well made. And yes, I've been collaborating with Dr. Vijay Boratti on scholarship on Kannada literature. And it's always a wonderful surprise to discover another area of Kannada culture. I wanted to ask a question about related to the reception of the film. Is there any, are there any indications or knowledge about the reception of the film among Muslims in Karnataka?
Anant, you can come in. Anant, you can come in to respond to Gil. Yeah.
ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಹೌದು, ಈ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಇದ್ರ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಶೋಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಕಡೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಶೋಗಳು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿಯಿಂದನೂ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರಿಸೆಪ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗೆ.
Yeah, so Anant says that the Muslim community has screened this in some workshops. So there has been good reception from the Muslim community as well for this film.
Nikila, Gil can understand Kannada and he can speak also.
Yes, but there are others in the audience as well. Yeah. Okay.
ನನಗೆ ಈ ಮುಂಚೆ ಎರಡು ವಿಚಾರಗಳ ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರೇಷನ್ ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ನಾವು ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆತರ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಲಿಟರರಿ ಇದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರಮಾಮಣಿ ಯಾಕಂಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ರಮಾಮಣಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ನ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಚಿದಂಬರ ರಹಸ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಯಂತಿ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಜಯಂತಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಈ ರಮಾಮಣಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಆತರ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಡೇರೆಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೇ ಕಟ್ಕೊಡೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕತೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಅದು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿದೇ ಕತೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳೆಲ್ಲವೂ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕೃತಿಗಳಿಂದ ಬಂತ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳೇ. ಸಿಬಯ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಬಯ್ಯನ್ ಪಾತ್ರ ಅಣ್ಣನ ನೆನಪುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದ ಆ ಪಾತ್ರ ಒಂದು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬರ್ತದ ಅದರದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕೃತಿಗಳಿಂದನೂ ಅದು ನಾವು ಆ ಪಾತ್ರಗಳನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ರಮಾಮಣಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮುಸ್ತಫಾನ ಒಂದು ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಚಿದಂಬರ ರಹಸ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ರಫಿ ಮತ್ತು ಜಯಂತಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಹಾಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನನ್ಗನ್ಸೋದು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಡೇರೆಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದು ಅವರ ಚಿದಂಬರ ರಹಸ್ಯ ಅನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಾದಂಬರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪೀಠಿಕೆಯಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ಬರ್ದಿಯಾರೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಡೇರೆಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾದ ಕಾದಂಬರಿಯ ಕಥೆಯ ಮುಂದುವರೆದ ಭಾಗನೇ ಚಿದಂಬರ ರಹಸ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ನನ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ ನನಗೆ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡೇರೆಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಕತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಚಿದಂಬರ ರಹಸ್ಯ ಕಾದಂಬರಿ ಇವೆರಡನ್ನು ಪಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಈ ಇದರ ಮುಂದುವರೆದ ಭಾಗನೇ ಇರ್ಬೋದನ್ನೋ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಚಿದಂಬರ ರಹಸ್ಯ.
Yeah, thank you. So Anant is saying that many of the characters that appear in the film are part of Tejasvi's universe. They may not have appeared in Daredevil Mustafa, but they are there in his works. He gives the example of Ramamani for that. And he feels that, in fact, Daredevil Mustafa may have been like a precursor to his other novel, Chidambara Rahasya. So, Kishore, please go ahead. You've raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Kishore is my student, was my student in evening college, and he's also a filmmaker, a very good photographer also.
I see. Warm welcome, Kishore. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Kishore.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
I'm an aspiring filmmaker and I'm a law student. And I appreciate Dr. Boratti's sensibilities in describing the film, especially. My opinion is that it's very mean to consider the movie in the context of Hindus and Muslims as a main thematic issue. But my implication is that we need to consider Daredevil Mustafa as a character which brings the fairness of a youth, the fairness of at the age of adolescence, and the fairness of Muslim youths in India, and the intolerance of the society to consider the love between Hindu and Muslim. Even today, we come across such issues. But here, Daredevil Mustafa represents the fairness of youths in India, the fairness of a Muslim youth in India. We need to consider that context instead of good Muslim and bad Muslim context. That is my impression of the movie.
Yeah, thank you, Kishore, for bringing up your point on the film. It is about adolescence and the responses by adolescents. Someone else has unmuted themselves. Anyone else who wants to come in now, please unmute yourself so I know that you want to speak. Paniraj sir, your review of the film was referred to by Vijay in the early part of his presentation. So Paniraj sir is also here.
No, yeah, I'm here. I couldn't completely hear Vijay talking because I was away. I just chipped in when in his last part, so I didn't hear his analysis of what he said and what he referred to my longish writing. Of course, Anant knows it because we discussed with Anant over Clubhouse discussion for around 2 hours. And so once you write about the film, I don't know what to talk, but I want to correct one thing. Of course, Muslim protagonists in Kannada films or any in Indian films, that matter, is exceptional. But just to add to his observation, that one other film which was again exceptional was Puksate Life, where Vijay's character was a Muslim protagonist, and it was again another human film. Puksate Life. I mean, that's again, it's not to contradict him because it's very rare that you have that kind of protagonist, and those are the things which you have to welcome when you consider a larger film industry. And of course, Daredevil Mustafa, we celebrated it, and Vijay Anand knows it, that we celebrated it together. That's why we had almost 2.5 hours discussion over Clubhouse platform about that. But the one issue which comes out for film study students, for exactly, and who are not, who are not Kannadigas who read Tejasvi, about the structural aspects of the film. Most, I think, while I heard about the last part of Vijay's presentation, he was talking much more functionally about the functional aspect of the film. Yeah, I fully agree with functional aspect of the film, and why that kind of films are much needed in mainstream in present circumstances, not only in Karnataka, elsewhere also. Or of course, at least Karnataka, we are able to make such films and argue for such films, and those films being shown and talked about. But other parts of Kannada, if it was Uttar Pradesh or somewhere else, it would not have been possible. Of course, the functional aspect I agree with. But again, structural aspect, I already have discussed it, and Anant also knows about it.
Yes, also.
We discussed it and we know about it. The kind is another problem what we have when we take up Tejasvi's work is that say Tejasvi's work. I mean, Tejasvi's are well celebrated works in at least in Kannada literary circles, and of course at large in Kannada. When we view a film based on Tejasvi's work, invariably we'll not be getting detached from his works. I mean, we have read his stories, and of course, kind of people like me, he is Tejasvi being a star during our youth, and following him, and then later analyzing him, analyzing his strengths and limitations, etc. Daredevil Mustafa comes on one part, and Chidambar Rahasya comes in another part. And of course, that my contention was that ambition of the Anant. I had also told Anant about that. The ambition to combine both is a thing which is very difficult to handle, because Tejasvi is very difficult to handle in when he's writing in a language, and he has created his own language and his own form. But translating into visuals was a very, very, very challenging one. As far as Daredevil Mustafa is concerned, I have written in my review that the film as it is presented, as far as Daredevil Mustafa is concerned, it has done full justice to what Tejasvi has done in language as far as the short story is concerned. And it also added a value to that short story as that part is concerned. But as far as foraying into Chidambar Rahasya is concerned, the film, I had written that, and Anant also knows about that, and I hope he has included in his in the book they are publishing. That's a slippery road. That's a slippery road, because though Anant says that okay, we have considered his universe, but his universe is so large and so slippery at many times, because many times his political views are also very slippery. We never hesitated to tell it on his face also. Many times when we faced each other, his political views are very slippery. And
ಸರ್ ಸಾರಿ ಫಾರ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಇದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಡೇರ್ಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಅವರು ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಎಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಯಾವ್ದೇ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಎಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಡೇರ್ಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಅವರು.
ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ಅನಂತ್ ನಾನು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ literature is a challenge for us, and of course there is no limitation that when we make a film we take a liberty and we can change his, and we can challenge his political views, and we can change his political views. That's what I was very appreciative of Daredevil Mustafa as far as its cinematic translation is concerned, and the way it has been translated with the nuances of catching the commonsensical Kannada language which Tejasvi effectively uses, because nowhere he suggests that there are his views about Muslims, but he talks about the common sense produced about the minorities. And film, as far as that part is concerned, is quite efficient in translating Tejasvi's idea of common sense in the in general public about a minority community, and of course what follows out of it, and what are the consequences follows of it. And Tejasvi's story appears before Ram Janmabhoomi movement. I mean, before the destruction of Babri Masjid and Ram Janmabhoomi movement, and it doesn't. Tejasvi didn't encounter this kind of political edge to that kind of common sense, because common sense, he said that this is a nuisance. For him, this kind of things are nuisance. And that nuisance didn't cause so much of violence. But by the time Chidambar Rahasya was made, so by the time Daredevil Mustafa was made into film, it has already turned up. After 30 years of already, it has gained its political tooth and fangs, and have become bloody. But in spite of it, taking that film to 2020s and handling it, and that part film is quite efficient, and I already appreciated that particular part. And translating with that is a common sense. To translate that whatever depicted about the Muslim community is depicted as a common sense, which is challenged, of course, which is challenged and said it is not. But that's not, again, the slippery is including another epochal story about a communal love, Chidambar Rahasya, because Chidambar Rahasya goes into a much wider terrain, of dealing with a society which is itself rotting itself not only in communal sense, it is rotting itself in caste sense and power sense. Bureaucratic post-Nehruvian society, power sense, and it is decaying that, and that decaying society needs something anarchic. And that anarchic should come somewhere from the youth, and that also should come to such an extent that the whole environment which is decaying has to be burned down and a new life has to emerge. I mean, that's kind of a epochal storytelling in Chidambar Rahasya. It's not kind of a poking at a common sense of a majority-dominated society of 1970s and all, which comes in Daredevil Mustafa, but it's about almost already decaying one in early 80s when he wrote Chidambar Rahasya. So, I mean, that kind of approach is there for Tejasvi and his limitations of his liberal political views. But, I mean, that's difficult to handle because that's also difficult to handle in Tabarna Kate, that's also difficult to handle in Kubi Matuyala, which somehow Girish Kasravalli and Suvarna has brushed over it. Because that was both the Girish Kasravalli and Suvarna concentrated on his liberal aspects about his rational liberal mindset, and they succeeded in that. But this was a challenge to bring it to a mainstream cinema. I always wished that Anant and the director should have limited to Daredevil Mustafa. And of course, when we, with all the love to the team, that this kind of foray into Tejas is worth. Though we fail, it's worth. It's worth because we got to try somewhere. We got to land into that adventure somewhere. And failing is better than not doing it. At least you have done it. But I think that particular part where you touch upon Chidambar Rahasya, but couldn't express it because that much more weightier things about the communal situations in 2020s is an issue. But there, I always felt, and I also, again, because it's a reputation for Anant, close your ears. I mean, you don't listen to that. It's for others because we are already discussed it. But there comes one part which is Tejasvi on there, in the sense that a kind of a PT teacher who is a liberating element there. It is another character which comes in Tejasvi's word and which is picked very efficiently in the film. PT teacher's character. PT teacher is a kind of a liberating figure in a very Tejasvi also always deals with feudal rural environment where there is no way to break the bonds and bring in certain kind of libertarian ideas into society. In that case, you need kind of a person from outside who is considered to be part of the system, but who is capable of breaking the system and is with their eccentricities. So that PT teacher is a kind of eccentric. A PT teacher is an eccentric who is accepted and respected within the environment, but he is capable of breaking it. And cinema also, this particular Daredevil Mustafa uses that character very well, that Tejasvian character very well. But I wish that could have been, instead of foraying into Chidambar Rahasya's theme, would have forayed into that theme where a love is blossoming between PT teacher and that English teacher. Another interreligious this thing. She's a Christian, though it didn't mean whether she's Catholic or Protestant, but there is another is blossoming, and that's romantic. That's romantic. And if those characters would have been given much weight, Daredevil Mustafa would have been transferred into another translation of Tejasvi into a romantic work. That would have been the possibility. I root that. I mean, why I also argued with Anant and said that instead of going into Rafi and Jayanti, you would have you had concentrated much on PT teacher and a military man who comes out of military and is having a liberating figure, and a love with the Christian English teacher. That would have lent much more weight to Daredevil Mustafa, and again you would have transcended and brought relevance to the present day, transcending limitations of Tejasvi's views. So that is my take on the film. It's but I already, Anant knows it, that I commanded the film, and we always support that film because it's kind of adventures we should foray into in such situations. Though we fail, though we slip. That's my take, Nikhila. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is a sequel. I think Paniraj sir is giving lessons to Anant for a sequel. Yes, Anant, you wanted to respond.
ಹಾ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಸರ್ ಪಣಿರ ಸರ್ OSK ಮತ್ತು PT ಟೀಚರ್ ನಡುವಿನ ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು ಸರ್. ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ತುಂಬಾ ಲೆಂತ್ ಆಗಿದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಎಡಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ತಲೆನೋವಾಗಿತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅವರ ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅವರ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಡಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ವಿ. ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ನಾನಂತರ ನಾವು ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಿಂಗ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬೋದು, ನಿಮ್ ಕಷ್ಟಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ದೇನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ,
ನನಗೂ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಜೊತೆ ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ ಇನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು.
ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ ಏನಾಗಿರೋದು ನಾನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಪರ್ಸನಲಿ ನನಗದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇತ್ತಂಗ. ನಾನು ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್, ಅವರ ಲವನ್ ಇತ್ತು, ತುಂಬಾ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಲೆಂತ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಲೆಂತ್ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದನೂ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಮತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರ ಆತಂಕ ಇತ್ತು. ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಮೇನ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಆತಂಕ ಇತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಎಡಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು. ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're all following the line of discussion. Paniraj sir is wondering why OSK and PT teacher romance was not developed further in the film screenplay, and why the emphasis on Rafiq and the sister of Iyengar. I mean, why that was included at all. So I think a lot of, this postmortem is possible when there is a film, and we are glad that Daredevil Mustafa is there before us to talk about it. We hope that there will be many more films that are as discussion worthy as this. Anyone else who wants to come in now? Tarkeshwar?
There are others, let them speak.
I don't see anyone who has unmuted.
There are some of familiar names that I know. Some of them are my colleagues in the college. Perhaps,
I see.
Aisha, Nivedita, Namrata, or even Arvind Mitra can come in, and they want to express their views. They can speak, I think.
Yeah, Tarkeshwar, you go ahead. We have time. Anyone who wants to speak, please gather your thoughts. You can go ahead, Tarkeshwar, while others gather their thoughts.
We can go on discussing how we could have made a film. That is a different issue, and why we wanted a particular kind of film. And there's no end to it, because all of us have our own imagination and our own concerns about the present. So keeping the present context and our understanding of the present context, we can always think of a film, an ideal film, which should intervene ideally in the present context. So that is one thing. And then the other thing is about, because this text also has a pretext, a story by Purnachandra Tejasvi. And again, when we have read the Purnachandra Tejasvi story, we have our own imagination. And we compare that with the imagination that is available to us on screen now, which is by somebody else or a group of people. As Patiraj himself said, they will have their own compulsions in imagining it on screen in a particular way. But what we could discuss is what are the implications of what they have done. Apart from simply saying that it is well-made film, what are the implications? And again, what is implications? Again, we will look at in terms of what we have understood of it. So we have some problem with the way certain characters have been presented, either as angel-like or as like villain-like, even among the Muslims. But it's quite interesting to see that when quote unquote we whom we call as politically correct people would have problems with the kind of representation that is on the screen of the Muslim characters, the Muslim themselves screening it and having a special screening. This is quite interesting. It points out at different reception of the film. And again, because we don't go with a tabula rasa to the film, we go with our own pre-knowledge about the society to the film. And depending on what pre-knowledge we go to the film unravels to ourselves. You can look at it as a kind of film which was on the verge of what Nikhila pointed out as love jihad, and then how it was averted, things like that. That is one point. The two other points I wanted to raise here, looking at the discussion, was the 90s movement that Parina spoke about, and then this Star Story, which came much earlier, which some people said is kind of anticipating what was happening now, post-90s. But interestingly, it is Lankesh, who also is from the same region, and it's Musanjaya Kathaprasanga, the novel, where the right-wing groups come as characters. Not only Tejasvi. I think it is Tejasvi's writings and then the Lankesh writings which help me to understand the late 80s and early 90s when a particular movement began in India. Otherwise, I would have been taken in by that kind of movement. It was Lankesh and Tejasvi who saved me. We might have hundreds of problems with the way Tejasvi portrays it, and then ask today why even the right-wing people appreciate Tejasvi and question it. But in fact, if I have to look at back, I could understand the late 80s and early 90s in India thanks to Lankesh and Tejasvi. And interestingly, both were from this Shumaga region, and both of them were inspired by the Loyites. And interestingly, in the late 70s, Loyites and the right-wing groups were together in opposing the emergency. And then the rise of Hindutva forces where the Loya movement was strong. So in that sense, these are quite interesting issues. There is an artifact that has come to us, but there's a pretext to this artifact that we are trying to talk about today, which has been released in a year or two, in this year. So in that sense, if you are using this discussion as a pretext to understand the context, either the context of the present day and then analyze the text, or then go back to the pretext and its context. I would say go back to the pretext and context. How these elements were present already. Is it not simply the right-wing groups, but a certain kind of figuration of our society that has happened during the nationalist context itself? How our nationalist discourse imagined what we call as India, and how certain communities were put in margins. So these are the issues that I think this film raises. And as Pandina said, it's very tricky to see whether the representation of a certain characters of Muslim is that of the narrator in the story or that of Tejasvi. Or if Tejasvi is simply through the narrator echoing these stereotypes that exist about the Muslim. So there is a quite interesting issue because not only in this discussion, in the last 15-20 days, I think people are raising issues about Tejasvi. Why other people are reading Tejasvi? Only we should have read Tejasvi. That's the kind of debate that I am seeing in social media about Tejasvi. And I am not able to understand it. Why do you want to own him? And then Tejasvi and Tejasvi's writings have kept on changing over a period of time. He began as a laureate. Before he began as a laureate, he was a kind of modernist. If you look at Swarupa and then Niguda Munusharu, they're more in tune with the modernist writing, the existentialist crisis, and then individual crisis and things like that. And then moving away from that, and then coming under the influence of laureate movement, and then the farmers movement, being associated with it. He was one of the few people who, along with the farmers movement leader, Nanjuswamy, translated Loya into Kannada and participated in those things. And again, after some time, he gets disillusioned with it. He makes fun of the people who want to change the society in 1 day or 2 days, especially in the 90s. One side, there is a rise of the right-wing politics, and then the other side, the globalization. And then at the same time, there was a kind of discourse that was trying to go back to what we call as pre-modern culture, identity. And then suddenly he stops writing creative writing, and then he starts writing Millennium series and things like that, where your vision gets enlarged. You're not bugged by the community, you're not bugged by the a particular segment in the society. The entire cosmos becomes is concerned. That kind of thing. And that is what works him. If somebody starts reading Tejasvi through that kind of writing, a kind of a popular science writing kind of thing, and then enters into his other fictional writing, what is our problem? But somehow trying to own Tejasvi or trying to disown Tejasvi because others are owning it is something that there is that is happening in the this Kannada social media scenario now. I am worried. Yes, there are different shades of representation of Muslims, as there are different kinds of Muslims in India too. But how do we deal with these representations? Whether we should attribute these representations to the entire community or not? That is the question. I think the narrative, both in the short story and the film, raises that effectively. As Mustafa is not the representative of Muslims, even the boy from that Keri is also not representative of the Muslims. And as there are other characters in the thing, they don't represent their communities. Similarly, these characters also don't represent the community. I think I would take only that as the kind of lesson from the both short story and as the film. The film need not be politically correct. We don't have to expect Tejasvi to be politically correct. In fact, I would say rather Tejasvi is actually politically correct. He was trying to figure what was happening in the Malnad region when Loyate movement was at strike. What was the problem with Loyate movement? Why they could easily associate with right-wing groups? They had their own compulsions. That's a different issue. But because of that, the BJP got 2 seats in the 80s in the parliament. And then that's why George Fernandez and the others went and became ministers in the Vajpayee government. That's why JDU en masse went into supporting BJP. There is a lot of issues that we need to discuss. In that context, it is natural that Tejasvi also had problems with socialism and then what was happening in Malnad. And then he stopped writing creative fiction and then moving into kind of popular science writer is also quite interesting things. So we need to place Tejasvi in a larger canvas than simply looking at him as a creative writer, as Kannada culture and literary circle has done it, and then trying to be kind of worried about why the non-progressive people are reading Tejasvi's writing. So there is a change within Tejasvi over a period of time. Similarly, this story is also important for its own, what it tries to communicate. Not to look at characters as representatives of communities. But we tend to do it. Our objection that why a Muslim character is represented like this, as an angel or as a villain, they should be shown as human, is also our anxieties. Why are we superimposing it on Tejas? We are on the film. I think these are the issues I think we need to discuss deeply. Thank you, Boratti. Thank you, Anant, and all others who participated in the discussion.
Thank you, Tarkeshwar, for your elaborate discussion of both the context in which Tejasvi was writing, what he's responding to, and how we are reading Tejasvi today, and how the film is remaking Tejasvi. Anyone, or Tejasvi's text, so to speak. Anyone else who wants to come in now?
A short response, if I am allowed.
Yes, please.
In response to what Tarkeshwar was talking about, owning or disowning, that owning or disowning or choosing or not choosing a particular writer has always been existing in the literary field as well as in other fields. Take, for example, Vivekananda, how he is interpreted by different forces. Take, for example, Vachanas, how they are being appropriated by different ideological forces. So it would be nice if you understand the trajectory of owning, disowning, or interpreting, reinterpreting, not interpreting, and choosing particular author, a particular history, and how over a period of time things have changed with regard to our choice. So that's what Tara was talking about, and it's true in case of other things also. So there are many instances that we can cite in order to point out owning or disowning at a particular time period. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else who wants to share their response to the film? Madhurima, Rasha, please unmute yourself so I know you want to speak.
There is one audience from Pune also, Praveen Vaidya.
I see.
He is from Dharwad. Perhaps
Okay.
he wants to say something, but
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Vijay. Hi, Vijay.
Yeah,
It was
please
nice
go
actually
ahead.
conversation, and it was nice conversation after a very long time. Actually, I have a whole collection of Purnachandra Tejasvi, and this is one of the very important collection from the short stories of Purnachandra Tejasvi, and he is a phenomenal writer in Kannada. Okay, and the movie with the title of Daredevil Mustafa, and the interpretation of the short story in the form of movie was very well appreciated. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to tell.
Okay. Thank you, Praveen. Any other responses? Anyone who has watched the film who wants to respond? Vijay and Anant, do you want to respond before we close the discussion?
Okay.
Yes, Anant, please go ahead. Yeah.
ಓಕೆ ಒಂದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಈಗ ಟೈಮ್ ಸಾಕಾಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಆ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ನಾವೇನೋ ಜಂಪ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ಒಂದ್ ವಿಷಯ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಡೇರ್ಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡೋದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಬಾಬ್ರಿ ಮಸ್ಜಿದ್ ಡೆಮಾಲಿಷ್ ನಂತರ, ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆಯ ನಂತರ ಇವತ್ತು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಒಂದೇನು ಸೋಶಿಯೋ ಮತ್ತು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ದೊಂದು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ನಾವು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈಗ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಫಿಕ್ಷನಲ್ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಫಿಕ್ಷನಲ್ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಬಹಳ ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಭಯ ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸುವ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಗುರಾಣಿ ತರ ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಬಾಬ್ರಿ ಮಸ್ಜಿದ್ ಮತ್ತು ಏನು ರಥಯಾತ್ರೆ ನಂತರ ಏನ್ ಈ ಧ್ರುವೀಕರಣ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರನ್ನ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕ ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಅನ್ಯರ ತರ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮದೊಂದು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ನಾವು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ, ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇದು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾವೇ ಇದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೇಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಆ ಪ್ರಿಮೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಪ್ರಿಮೈಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ, ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. That's all.
Yeah. So Anant has mentioned. Anant says that if we want to talk about Tejasvi's political stance, it may take us much more time than we have at our disposal. But he says that this is an attempt to respond to the kind of polarization that is happening in India post Babri Masjid, and it's a kind of response to that. If one wanted to write a story and respond to it on their own, it would have been very difficult given the political context at this point in time. Tejasvi and Tejasvi's story provided in some ways a safe peg, a safe way of handling the issue. So Tejasvi's story became a readily available handle to which many of the contemporary issues could be grafted and presented. He would like to see this film as a political film. I think none of us have missed that. I think we all, have seen this film or any film for that matter as a political film and are very much aware of the politics, to which you are responding. I don't think any of us have missed that. Vijay, do you want to respond before we close the discussion?
No, it's not a response. It's off the track. Apparently, this film is available in Telugu also. This is dubbed into Telugu. I don't know whether some of you have noticed it or not. The success of the film might have made the producer to dub that into Telugu, I think.
Yeah, this is a
ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಡಬ್ಬಿಂಗ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ತೆಲುಗು, ಮಲಯಾಳಂ ಮತ್ತು ಹಿಂದಿ, ತಮಿಳು ಇಷ್ಟು ಭಾಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಡಬ್ಬಿಂಗ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ತೆಲುಗಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಡಬ್ಬಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದ ಭಾಷೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಆದಂಗಿಲ್ಲ.
Okay, so this is wonderful that it's now going to reach audience in other languages. It's already reached people in Telugu. And just this morning I was seeing on Facebook that Hadinelantu has also been dubbed into Telugu. So this is wonderful that good Kannada films are available to audience across linguistic boundaries. Murali Krishna sir, please go ahead.
Sorry for the second intervention.
No problem, please go ahead.
Two short questions to Anant. One is, can
Sir.
we take the political aspect of the film as subtext of the film? That's my first question. The second
Yes
question
sir, yes sir, yes. ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಹೌದು.
the second question is, why did you choose the mainstream format for making this film?
ಸರ್ ಹೌದು, ಇದು ಕ್ರೌಡ್ ಫಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಒಂದು 80 ಜನ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ನಮಗೆ ಖಂಡಿತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ನಾವು ಅವರ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಗಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದಿದ್ರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರ್ದೋ ದುಡ್ಡು ಉಡಾಯಿಸಿದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ನಾವು. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಲೇಬೇಕು ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ನೋಡಿ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ನ ಇದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಲೆಂತಿ ಮಾಡುವ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ. ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅದು. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆ ಭಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೊಂದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯನ್ನು ಓದಿಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋರು ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಿನಿಮಾಗೆ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದೊಂದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಆ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೋರ್ ಎಮೋಷನಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಸನಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಷ್ಟ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಮೊದಲು ಅದನ್ನ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ, ಬೇಡ ಇದನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ಈ ತರ ಸುಮಾರು 1 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಂದ ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಡಾಯಿಸಬಾರ್ದು ಅದನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂಚೂರು ಕಾಂಪ್ರಮೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಇದು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಖಂಡಿತ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಇದು ನನಗೂ ಇದೇನು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ತೃಪ್ತಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಅಥವಾ ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಇದು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅನ್ಸಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದಷ್ಟು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿಯ ಆಶಯಗಳೇನಿದ್ವು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ ಮತ್ತು ತೇಜಸ್ವಿ ವಿಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ಆಶಯ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನು ನಾವು ತರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಏನೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಸಬ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋನು ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಇನ್ನೂ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವೈಸ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಅನನುಭವಿಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋರ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಗಿರುವ ಒಂದು ಮಿತಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ
ಹಲೋ
ಮಚ್.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಂದೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅನಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ.
ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗೋ ಅಹೆಡ್.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೂವೀಸ್ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಮೂವೀಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು 17 ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ. ಈವನ್ ಅವರು ಅಮೆಝಾನ್ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದು ಆ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೆ. ದೆನ್ ಹಿ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಪುಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಆ ಥರದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲೋ, ಅಥವಾ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಆ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಚುರಿಟಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲೋ? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್?
ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಸರ್, ಸರ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಒಂದು ಸರ್, ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಸರ್. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕಲಾತ್ಮಕ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಆ ಸಿನಿಮಾದ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಮುಗಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದರ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ಗಳಾಗ್ಬೋದು ನಮ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗಿತು ಅಂತ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನ ಜನಗಳ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡೋದು ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬರೀ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಯಿಂದ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಗೆಲ್ಲುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದು ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ರೀಚ್ ಆಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಡೇರೆಡೆವಿಲ್ ಮುಸ್ತಫಾದ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅದರ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದನೂ ಅದರದ್ದು ಪ್ರಮೋಷನಲ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಮತ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಧನಂಜಯ್ ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಸಿಕ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ತರದನ್ನ ರೀಚ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದರ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಬೇರೆ ಕಲಾತ್ಮಕ ಚಿತ್ರ ಮಾಡೋರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನನಗೆ ಪೃಥ್ವಿ ಕೊಡನೂರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಆಕ್ಷೇಪ ಇದೆ. ಅವ್ರು ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ, ಪಿಂಕಿಯಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಸಿನಿಮಾ, ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಸಿನಿಮಾ, 17 ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಸಿನಿಮಾ. ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೋದಿಲ್ವೇನೋ ಅದು ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಷೇಪ ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಲಾತ್ಮಕ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡೋರು ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಎಫರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ಗೂ ಬಳಸ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರು. ಅವಾಗ ಬಹುಶಃ ಈ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗಳು ರೀಚ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
So I have to quickly translate. Praveen, just a moment. We should not leave others behind. Let me quickly translate the two responses, the questions and the responses. One was about whether the political aspect is a subtext. Anant readily agreed to that. And secondly, to MS Krishna's, Murli Krishna's question about whether why the film was made in a mainstream language and why it was placed in the mainstream. Anant made this very important point that because of crowdfunding, because they had raised nearly 1 crore through about 8 or 10 people. He felt the team felt accountable to them, and therefore they had to ensure that they got back whatever had been invested. In fact, he says the cricket episode was not originally there, and he was not very satisfied with that, but it was included because it would ensure a repeat audience for the film. He thinks that this film is not a perfect film, whatever that means. I mean, none of us know what a perfect film is. As long as we are able to discuss and have such interesting conversations, it would be fine. But he says it's not a perfect film, and it's not one of the films that has given him complete satisfaction, but still it's there for all of us to talk about. The second aspect, which we had a long discussion when Prithvi Kodanur came last week, was this absence of or this ability to reach out to the larger Kannada audience. Why OTT platforms don't seem to pick up Kannada content as readily as they might pick up other language content. and so on. And Ananth, as opposed to Konanur, he was very clear that, he's not going to make great efforts to reach the audience. But Ananth pointed out that for this particular film, they spent as much effort in the promotional activity in ensuring that it reaches people as in the making of the film. So these are two starkly different kinds of approaches. So it's not that Kannada audience is not there for good films. It is how do they come to know and how do they come to access these films. Praveen, sorry for cutting you short. Please go ahead. You can ask your second question.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬಂದಾಯ್ತು.
Okay, fine.
I got the answer for the audience also.
Okay, fine.
Because this Hajrelent was very much popular in YouTube. YouTube got very good response.
Yes, yeah.
And advantage with DAREDEVIL Musthafa was, he had always Purnachandra Tejasvi by his side.
Yes, ಹೌದು.
Okay. If there are no more responses and questions, let me begin by thanking Anantha Shandreya. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been almost 1.5 hours, so it must be a busy working day for all of you. Anantha, thank you very much for readily agreeing to be part of this discussion and for giving us your precious time. Vijay is our go-to person when we have an interesting film, particularly if it's a Kannada film and if it's a film that needs scholarship and insight. I think that's why I asked Vijay if he would respond to this film. Thank you, Vijay, for readily agreeing and for being so thorough in your preparations. You said you are not prepared. I think you have put in a lot of effort and a lot of preparation into your response. Thanks everyone for joining the discussion today. Next week we will meet again at the same time, 9 p.m. For the discussion of another wonderful Kannada film which many of us may have watched here, Hamsadwani. MS Murali Krishna is going to initiate discussion on Hamsadwani. You're all welcome to join the discussion next week at 9 p.m. Till then, good night. Have a happy weekend and hope to see you all next week. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Right,
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anant.
Good
Thank you,
night.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.